Hello and well, let's see. Why am I off camera? Well, look at that. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you are close to New York, but it is about to start thunderstorming. Let's hope that the power stays on because when you're at the end of the line, sometimes that happens, but hopefully it won't. Now, as you can see, I am solo dolo, as they say, but not for long. Keosante should be joining us momentarily. Hargeet Chani is going to be out today. He's doing some family stuff, so we'll get him back here next week. So it's going to be a little bit of a shorter show. We're looking probably around 75-ish minutes. We're going to be talking Gears. We're going to be talking Halo. We're going to be talking about a big announcement coming the way of Gamescom from Ubisoft. We got a lot to get into, but ladies and gentlemen, how are you guys and gals doing? What you've been up to? What have you been playing? This is some older Halo Infinite gameplay. I have not been back. And you know what? It's a shame. I must have missed, I want to say 5 or 6 operations, which is just shameful because Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has stolen my soul. Yeah, listen, it's great to be here with everybody here, and listen, FYI, if everyone didn't know, be on the lookout. If you were one of the 10 prize winners, your packages should be arriving. They should have arrived or arrived at least by today. Game on Jesse says Gen Z doesn't like Halo. I mean, maybe. Look, we're gonna get into. I actually cannot wait for Kay to get here because there are no bigger Halo fans than me and Kay Asante. And I gotta be honest with you, I really think that something big is gonna happen. And I think a lot of really great Halo news is 2 shakes of a stick away. I know that there's been some talk in the community about not actually trusting Halo Studios because obviously they're 343 just renamed, but a lot of the issue makers or the problem children that caused 343 Studios to lose a lot of faith with its community are no longer there. They're under new management, and there's a lot going on. I can't wait to get into it. Hey, speaking of the devil, here he is. Kay Asante, what's going on, brother? I was literally just saying that there are no 2 bigger Halo fans than me and you, and we're getting into a ginormous sized Halo topic today. But how you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
I am good. I'm sorry I am late. This is the life I lead. What are we going to do? I'm happy to be here, and I'm here for slander because it took PlayStation. Thank you, PlayStation, for giving me the ODST, the Halo verse that I needed. Had I relied on Xbox, I'd have been an old man, dead and buried, never gotten that. So thank you, PlayStation.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, we'll open up with that. Look, hey, it's pretty wild how far Halo has actually fallen. Right? Like when you sit back and you look, and especially if you are a diehard Xbox player, you look back and just for its history, Halo has always meant domination, right? Like it was one of the biggest IPs. And I know we're old men and we're going into yesteryear. Halo 1 comes out. And it's why most people bought an Xbox, right? I mean, Combat Evolved literally changed the way console gamers played first-person shooters because that was a PC thing. Like that was that's what you played on PC is first-person shooters in the way of Doom and Quake and Wolfenstein and classics like that. And Halo Combat Evolved literally changed the game. And then, of course, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo ODST. There's just so many great stories. And, for as great as Halo Infinite was and still is, because it's still great, it's an incomplete part of Halo. Unfortunately, you and I, we've talked about this before, Kay, that Halo Infinite in its single-player story was phenomenal. And it's unfortunately a story that's never going to be completed because of issues, right? Well, I think, and I was saying this to the chat before you got here, we are on the cusp of a, a pretty big comeback for Halo. And I do want to start off with yesterday's news because you did say thank you PlayStation, or for actually having this happen, because we've openly talked about how exciting it would be to get another ODST or an ODST type of single player Halo game, right? ODST comes out, and it actually came out the year after Halo 3, and no one actually thought it was going to be as good as it was. And to be fair, it had no right to be as good as it was. Okay, it just was incredible because the main character, which was of course Buck, was not a Spartan. He was a shock trooper, right? He's on his own against ridiculous odds, and somehow that story worked, right?
Yeah.
Well, yesterday, in what I thought was one of the coolest things to happen in gaming in years, two behemoth platforms in PlayStation and Xbox came together to deliver one of the coolest fan things I think I've ever seen. I mean, Helldivers came out last year to unbelievable success, right? We know that it sold well over 12 million on PC. It is a very, very successful gas game for Sony. And you know what? In a time where they had 10 cancellations and 2 are kind of up in the air, they needed a win, and they got it, right? Now, if you guys and gals remember last year, I was lambasted by the PlayStation community because I had heard that Helldivers 2 was in fact something that was going to happen, right? You remember the videos that people made? People made podcasts of it. It was hilarious. Oh, it's all fun and good, right? Until someone loses an eye. At least that's what they said. And now here it is. On August 26th, it's dropping onto Xbox. But it's not just dropping onto Xbox and, hey, just go and, Super Earth and blah, blah, blah. No. Okay. The last 10 seconds of the announcement trailer, or the hype trailer is what I'm calling it, yesterday, basically showed New Mombasa, one singular trooper dropping down, and the music.
Mm-hmm.
And look, folks, I'm going to say this right now. I say it all the time. I have goosebumps from the tip of my toes to the top of my head because this is the coolest shit I've ever seen happen. Honestly, how could you not be excited, Kay? Like, I don't care what part of the aisle you land on. PlayStation, PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, it doesn't matter. This is a gamer moment that you just have to sit back in your gamer chair and just smile. Let's talk about it, Kay.
Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like we have seen, like, this has been something that we've wanted to have happen for a long time, and not just this IP or not just this specific property but ever since the ABK thing, ever since Bethesda, it's been, hey, will they start, like, putting the peanut butter and the jelly together, like doing the interesting stuff, right? Like, build a universe. Oh, maybe we'll see Doom guy in your Halo, or Halo in your Doom guy, or whatever, right? And people have been looking for it and asking for it for a long time, and every time they don't see it happen, and every time there's a what do you call it, blunt man and chronic out there, like on Call of Duty, people are just like, what the hell, man? Where's the IPs that we should be having? You know what I mean? So it's been a thing that has been on the cusp for a long time. So it is definitely exciting to finally see it happen. But I'm serious. Like, that's my slander. Like, I know that and I work in corporate America, so I know what corporate America can do, and how it can be limiting, right? You think that they have infinite resources so they can do so much. No, that just means a lot more overhead to get anything done, right? I get that. But I wish that there was somebody within their ranks these days right now that sees that vision, that sees that, hey, you know, even though it may not be the biggest market that we have, there's a subset of our audience that if somehow, some way, just like a Pro Skater 3 and 4, if Doom Guy shows up, if Halo, if Master Chief shows up, right, that just gives these guys some excitement that connects the platform to it, and it's just something that will rise above and give people the feels that they want, right? Like, it's not too much to do those little things here and there to kind of give people that hype that they want, right? And I feel like they're missing someone within their ranks that with a vision to get that done, and or well, probably end the fact that the runway for interoperability and for publisher or developer communication might be more difficult to accomplish with a big organization like that, right? Like they may not be all sitting at the lunch counter every day going, "Hey man, so you want to put your Halo in my Master Chief?" You know what I'm saying? Like it may not be so simple, right? So I just think this is super exciting, and I hope that our podcast and the excitement on the Twitter streets and yes, I always call it Twitter, so stop it. The excitement on socials and all of that stuff, that even if this is just amounts to just a tiny skin that Arrowhead puts into this game, but all of that hype and the zeitgeist that it moves and brings with it teaches these guys something. And by these guys, I mean Microsoft. And obviously, this couldn't have happened without Microsoft and PlayStation working together. So
of course,
let's just like stop being facetious and talking around it. This is not Arrowhead. This is PlayStation. Arrowhead is an employee. PlayStation's the employer.
Yeah.
They don't like what you're doing, you out the door. They're hiring someone else. So if you see this happening, this is PlayStation and Microsoft working together to bring this kind of stuff to the masses. And I think it's awesome. I think that's fantastically cool. And if this means that one day you see a cool, interesting, quirky PlayStation character in an Xbox game, shoot, that's cool too. It's all good. I think that's exciting.
I mean, look, we don't actually know what the schematics of this collaboration are going to be, right? Now, we know that ODST Drop Troopers, or Hell Jumpers, as they're known, because it's feet first into hell, right? That's the same. And we got Crispy Bomb joining us. Crispy, I'll get to your introduction in a hot second. Thanks so much for jumping on, because of course we are talking Halo, we are talking Gears,
yes,
and well, you are Mr. Gears for sure. But this is one of those, again, we don't know the actual deets, as the kids like to say, for how big of a collaboration, right? But I am going to tell you, this is PlayStation Marketing 101, right? So Arrowhead, like you said, is the employee. And I got to be honest with you, if you hear or, you follow some of the Arrowhead developers, they're so excited for this. Like, they are as excited for this collaboration and for us to play as they were involved in putting it together. Now, there's, of course, the internet detectives or the sleuths have done some code digging, and someone found that a scarab was somehow in the code for Helldivers 2. You know what a scarab is? It's ginormous. Listen, if I was a betting kind of a guy, and if they're gonna go full on, let's put the drop it on the table, so to speak. Pause. Right? You go. There are vehicles in this game, vehicles that kind of look like a warthog. Maybe they should make them warthogs. Vehicles that kind of look like pelicans. I don't know. Maybe you should have pelicans in the game. Listen, again, we don't know what exactly is going to happen, whether or not it's going to be, price of purchase, you get these things, or because it's a gas game, there might be a ODST pack available. And like I said, whatever that costs, and I probably shouldn't be saying this publicly, or at least aloud, because this is how these corporations move, I will gladly pay for it because I'm a fan of Halo. I'm a fan of ODST. I'm a fan of the Hell Jumpers. I think this collaboration is cool as shit. And it's one of those things that, like Kay said, you see, this is the wild world that we're living in. Like, most people here in the chat right now are OGs. Everyone on this panel is an OG. So if you would leave 2025 and go back to something like 2015, Kay Asante, Boom, and Crispy, and tell us, hey, listen, I want to give you a glimpse into the future. Gears of War is launching on PlayStation, and Helldivers, a PlayStation exclusive, is launching on Xbox. You'd get slapped across the face. That's what would happen. We'd kick you in the ass and send you on your way. Get out of here, kid. You're bothering me, right? But this is the world that we're living in, and I gotta tell you, I don't know how Gears of War specifically is going to do. With on PlayStation. I hope it does super well, because it's a game that they've always talked about and they've never played. But this Helldivers 2 situation is really unique in a way where, again, the masters of marketing, and you guys and girls have heard me talk about Sony's powerful marketing. 2 weeks before the game comes out, they dropped that trailer yesterday, and I cannot begin to tell you how many DMs I got from people, not only telling me about the actual drop, the commercial or the trailer, but that they were now getting the game. I think that this is going to sell. Is it going to sell 12 million copies like it did on PC? Probably not. But I got to tell you, I think this game is going to sell like hotcakes. And again, all we know is that ODST is going to have a part of this. We just don't know how big. But Crispy, this is very interesting. This is very exciting. Again, it's just one trailer, and just like all of the MCU films, stay for the credits, folks, because that last 10 seconds is, holy shit, I can't believe what I just saw. Awesome. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Well, I mean, I'm going to reiterate a little bit, but also just bring it to light that, when PlayStation does something like they did this past week, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't see a lot of Xbox guys going out there being like, oh, look, we win. Like, there's a few. Let's be honest. Like, there's a few that are just like, we win. We they're releasing a game and you're adding in content that is like, it is really OG. Like, ODST is really OG. And don't get me wrong, I didn't understand what ODST was until after I played some of it and down the road watched some of the fan-made films and all these other things and understand what the Hell Jumpers actually were. But the way I look at it is that having this collaboration really destroys all narratives. It really does. And I look at it and I say, y'all don't think PlayStation and Xbox are talking? Come on now. Because a lot of us, when we saw Helldivers 2 come out, we said, why not put ODST in there? Why not? It doesn't get enough love. Okay. And I'm not saying I did that like completely, but there's a lot of Halo fans that were like, I mean, it's totally logical. I mean, some of us even said, are they kind of ripping off the Hell Jumpers with this? That's the way, you say, okay, but at the same time, you're releasing it on Xbox and people are hyped about it. Why not do it? And clearly they're doing it. Okay. Like, they're not, you don't throw a tease like that out there and just, oh, it's never going to happen. And then it's probably going to be at launch, on Xbox. So, I mean, where's the problem? And in reality, the way Helldivers is set up, they could clearly add, some Halo-esque maps. I'm not saying it's going to be the exact same thing, but some Halo-esque planets or whatever you want to call it into that ecosystem.
Limitless.
And I think personally, because like I've seen on I'm on Facebook and Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, just as well on both sides. And the Helldivers community on Facebook is far greater, and they're much more positive, and they are nicer people than you would think. And a lot of them are saying it has to be Xbox guys jumping in this. And they might be on PC, obviously, because we don't have the game yet. But they are like all of a sudden like taking over stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, that's what we do. Like if we get into a community, we go all in. And they are excited, honestly. Like the Helldivers, big fans that, stay on there and want the content and love that the ODST is coming. They are like, going ham, but some of them don't even really truly know. They just look it up and they're like, oh, wow, like that makes total sense. And I think, and I really hope like games look at collaborations like this and maybe it's Xbox and PlayStation and, some other gaming companies just coming together and saying, hey, like these collaborations totally make sense. And why not do it? And I think, at the end of the day, like Xbox has to agree to this because it's their license. So it's not like, like both of them had to say, hey, like this totally makes sense. And as they said, it was PlayStation that did this to begin with. So I'm excited for the gaming future in general because of things like this, because I think we can bring back old IP, even if it's kind of thrown into another game. And I don't feel like this is going to be the end of it. I feel like you're going to see some PlayStation IP all of a sudden show up in Xbox games. And this is the world we might live in right now. I'm not saying it's, like everybody says, whole slate. And I'm like, I don't know about whole slate. I'm talking old games, man, that some of us that have been on Xbox for years haven't played. Yeah. And that's okay. All right. That's all right. Like they're going to make money. They got my $40 for Helldivers before this. Think about that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And now you got a lot of Xbox guys that are diehard Halo fans and wouldn't mind being in the suit playing a third person. And that's where I say, like, can we get a Halo that at least has the option, even if you have to reboot the game and play it a different way? Like, can we get a Halo game with that option? Like, can you do CE with a third person option? Because I mean, like third person. I think that would be awesome. I'm sorry.
It would be kicking what and making it different. And first of all, you're going to get ODST in third person because obviously Helldivers is third person. Gentlemen, I got to show you something. This was made, and let me get the correct. The guy that made this. It's called Worlds Collide. It's by Matthew Lance. I have to show this live on the air. Oh my freaking goodness, it is so good. So hold on just a second. Let's put that there. I'm gonna remove this all together. Check this out. This is someone.
Oh yeah, I saw this today.
This is epic. Let me go play this. Hold on. Let me get to it. Check this out, folks. I got the sound on and everything.
I've been waiting for this.
I love it.
See his cool.
That's great.
How mother effing epic is that? Oh my! That was made in Blender, bro. I want to. It's so good. I want to watch this again. Look at this. This is so. This is gaming. This is what celebrating gaming is all about.
I've been waiting for this.
Oh my god, that's so good.
He's looking at him with a side eye too, man.
I love it.
I mean, that's what we're talking about, man. That's just celebration, dude. Like at the end of the day, you know, and like I said, dude, the Helldivers community is all for this. Like they are not even. They are not joking. They are like putting out like PlayStation gamers. If you guys get salty, we are going to shoot you in the back, just like you shoot the Xbox guys in the back. We are not playing. This is for democracy. That's a community, man. That's really a community. And I'll tell you right now, like I am looking forward to jumping in.
You know what? So where I want to take this, look, we're all excited, right? As much as I can't wait, and this is a personal thing, for me and my brother to roll through Gears 1. Like that's a brother moment that I had with him. That is, we talk about it all the time. It's again, it's a goosebump inducing moment for me and my brother. We ran through Gears so many times as a pair of brothers. It was so special for us. So I can't wait for us to do that again with what's dropping on the 26th. But I gotta be honest with you, I have not been this excited to play with the community. And I mean, I play Call of Duty every day. I played Halo with the community. I played Titanfall. I've played Gears. Something about this collaboration with Helldivers and Halo, more specifically the Hell Jumpers, has me so freaking excited. I can't even begin to say. Like it's there's no words. But you know, I want to kind of keep the positivity of Halo going because, folks, look, 343 Studios, which of now is Halo Studios, has had, unfortunately, over the course of the last 5 years, que Asante, more valleys than peaks, right? The studio has had, massive leadership change. They try to put people in, it didn't work. They put other people in, it didn't work. They put other people in, and it didn't work, right? And I've always said that it boggles me as a diehard Xbox fan how you have seen Halo just fall to where it is now, right? Like, if you were to ask someone what are the top 5 first-person shooters, Halo wouldn't even be in that conversation. That's actually sad.
Yep.
If you, you don't have to be an old man like me to say that. It's the truth. Halo.
But you know what, though, Boom? I would also argue, though, even though I agree with you, I would argue that Master Chief as an IP is like as a mascot or a recognizable franchise is almost like Mario in its depth.
Yeah. Oh no, there's no doubt. Sure. Yeah.
Right, but they don't, unfortunately. So it's become what it is. Yeah,
become a meme, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I said all of that to say, right? That's an Everborn famous line. Mint Blitz. You know who he is. He this guy is a Halo freak. I don't think there's a bigger Halo fan than him. Maybe Rebs Gaming could give this guy a run for his money, right? I actually believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we as a not as an Xbox fan base, as gamers, meaning PlayStation, meaning Nintendo, meaning PC, meaning Xbox, meaning everybody, everyone is involved in this. Everyone is under one umbrella. I have a very strong suspicion based on this post that I'm going to read to you from Mint Blitz right now that Halo is going to be coming back in one of the biggest ways possible. And I think that I know there's some people in the chat. I don't want to call out names, but some people want Chief to die. I'm sorry. You'll never get me on that team. Chief needs to live.
Coming for you, Black Viking. He needs to live.
Black Viking is one of them. There it is. Yeah. Okay. So you said it, so I'm going to say
Calling out names, BV. Coming for you. Leave Master Chief alone. Anyway. Go ahead.
So I mean, look, I'm all about evidence-based conversation. You hear me talk about that all the time. Like that's actually a thing. And I wanna kind of lay these breadcrumbs not only for the panel but for the chat. Right now, it starts. I mean, think about this for a second. It all starts with PlayStation, folks. I mean, think about this. Crispy said it. Kay said it. It starts with Helldivers 2 and the ODST collaboration. That is madness. But that is ultimately how we're going to look back at this. Now, walk with me on this, folks, right? What just happened prior to the Helldivers 2 big announcement yesterday? Fortnite got 2 Spartans, red and blue, and they brought back Master Chief for another crossover. So if you missed out on Master Chief originally, go get him. Right? That's happening right now. Later this month, of course, Helldivers 2. And it's going to be basically an ODST takeover. That's ultimately what it's going to be. It's still going to be Helldivers, but everyone is excited because ODST is a part of it, right? But then it gets really funny, folks, because I have a story here, and of course, this is both a part of Mint Blitz's post and a story that was posted by Sam Piole of InsiderGaming.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it says this, ladies and gentlemen, PlayStation compatible Halo game reportedly found in new data mine. There's that new Halo game that's happening at some point or another, and it's launching on the PlayStation. Again, folks, you got to walk with me on this, because now I'm going to go back to Mint Blitz's post. Interestingly enough, that this story from Insider Gaming dropped, thanks to Rebs Gaming, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, he reported on that in late October, which is going to be the Halo Championships, that's going to be happening in Texas. It is almost but confirmed that Halo Studios is going to be showing what they've been working on. Now, some people had early on suggested it was going to be single player, but I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. I do not think so. It is not a continuation of Halo Infinite either. What I think is going to happen at the Halo Championships in late October is they're going to show off the new Halo multiplayer that is going to be releasing on PC, PS5, and Xbox the same time. Now, I don't know if that is this year. Maybe it's in December. Maybe I don't think so, to be honest with you. That sounds like
you're talking multiplayer only.
Multiplayer, not single player. The single player is going to happen next year with Combat Evolved. This particular, because again, if you go again, I'm going to add all of these links to the show notes if you want to check out the stuff yourself. But Kay, so I'm going to read verbatim. I know I'm a little bit all over the place because I'm excited. Fortnite Halo crossover happening now. Helldivers 2 on the 26th. New Halo game being announced at Worlds, as it's called, late October. Halo will be on PlayStation. This was found out via Grunt API. and a multiplayer new Halo project in the works, multiple Halo multiplayer projects in the works. I think Halo's coming back in a big way. And I gotta be honest with you, this could be another super ginormous gas game for Microsoft and Xbox in the form of Halo's big return. Brother, I think we're close. I know it sometimes seems like there is certainly no light in all of this darkness for Halo, but I'm thinking that we're back. Let's get your thoughts, man.
Honestly, Boom, I would sing the "Quit Playing Games with My Heart" song, but I leave that to Infinite Number to do that. So just imagine that real quick. Honestly, I'm a little salty when it comes to Halo. I have been for a while. To me, Halo is dead.
You have every right to be,
y'all
sir.
heard me say that, right? Like to me, they fed only the parts that keep them making money, which is the multiplayer, which I understand that, right? No doubt. But there was so much potential with the single player, and even Infinite. Like it put such a sour taste in my mouth for the Halo franchise, the way they left it. And I've played the Halo franchise probably more than most. Like I've gone through that entire series at least 12 to 13 times, like from end to end, called the Master Chief Saga, from the Master Chief Collection, right? So every single player storyline, I've gone through it multiple times. I love that series. I love that storyline. I love the way where it goes and all of this. I did hear, and this was not no background stuff. Like Phil Spencer has talked about wanting to like have that trifecta happen again with a new generation, Halo, Gears, Forza, right? And we are heading towards a new generation. We already know that Halo Studios is working on something. Now, the thing that I find interesting that you mentioned is that this would be a multiplayer only type situation. Almost wow. Okay, well, you did that man dirty. You did that man dirty.
I took the elevator up and hit him right in the face with
damn, that was I couldn't even continue my train of thought. You did that man just dirty, so dirty. Anyway, that was dirty work. Anyway, so look, what I find is interesting about this is I can see it happen, because then you could separate the focus, right? And then have the single player be an event on its own, and then have the multiplayer be almost Warzone, in that it can live on its own and have its own seasons and whatnot, right? I see the paradigm of separating the two launchers, if you will. Well, they already did it with Infinite, right? Like they could like really continue that paradigm here. I get that. I guess my question is, will people give them the reprieve they need in order to solidify themselves? Because historically, Halo has been the campaign and multiplayer, right? And when they tried to do that, even in beta form last time, people gave them a lot of crap for it. If you guys don't recall, right? When Halo, when they released the multiplayer a few months before they released it, it was like, this is an incomplete package. Either you release both of them or you don't release it at all. Remember all that? Like it was a whole thing that had podcasters like reeling for weeks with all the back and forth and conversations, just because they chose to release one piece of the puzzle instead of the other one together, right? So my question is, will the community, the 2026 or whenever this comes out, community be satiated with this offering? That's question one. Question two is, will Microsoft have their ducks in a row? Because that was what killed Halo Infinite, right?
Yeah.
A multiplayer lives and dies by the content, and Halo Infinite, as great as it was, had not enough in the tank. So as soon as people were done, they were like, that's it. And you did the loop a couple times, and that combat is still amazing, and the content that was there is still good, but there wasn't enough of it. And by the time there was enough of it, people had already gotten a bad taste in their mouth about the whole thing. So honestly, these are all lessons learned, right? So I would imagine that they, having another Halo-esque multiplayer, would come in there with the knowledge that, hey, we're not going to do what we did last time, right? Like this time, we're going to make sure that we have our ducks in a row. We're going to make sure that we have our seasons prepared. We're going to make sure all of it is ready to go. If that is ready to go, yeah, I see this thing becoming huge, like on Steam, on PC in general, on Xbox and on PlayStation. it would be effing huge. Now imagine we live now in a world where, you know, and I hate when people do this, but I'll follow along. We live now in a kumbaya world where everybody's all communicating, right? Imagine you start seeing interesting characters show up in these things, right? This is awesome. You know, imagine you see this multiplayer and now you see, what do you see? You see Helldivers characters show up in it, as well as other things. It should be an interesting world. I think all of that is very cool, you know? So that is exciting for me.
I can add a little bit more context to that. I mean, I look, I know like right now there's a lot of conversation. This is kind of just sidestepping the path for a second. So again, walk with me on this.
Okay.
One of the big community I don't want to say arguments, conversations that people are having, you know, Battlefield 6, you know, all of the men and women that are fighting look like, you know, real soldiers, right? They, you know, they got the pulled up mask, you got the sunglasses. My biggest problem with that, and maybe it's me because I'm so used to Call of Duty, it's boring AF. It's just military people running around that look incredibly uninteresting. I'm sorry. You know, throw the virtual tomatoes. The destruction, great. Graphics, great. The character models are just.
So you like Blunt Man and Chronic?
I didn't buy them.
But you like that they're running around.
I like the fact that there are different characters running around. Like I said, I mean, Seth. I was gonna say Seth Green, but Seth Rogen with that crazy laugh is running around shooting people in the back. I mean, I mean, so now
you like seeing BBLs jiggling around as they shoot people. I see that.
I mean, I put it this way. I kind of side-eyed when I saw Nicki Minaj shoot me and I died. I'm like, I don't know so much about that, but I do like the characters that I bought. But now getting back onto the path of Halo, what I think, and this is such a crazy world we're living in. For Halo to get back to where it used to be, it is going to require the use of all platforms. Now, I don't know if Nintendo Switch could run it or it's even going to be a part of the conversation, but we definitely know it's coming to PlayStation 5. And I really do think that, look, you've heard other people say it. You have not really heard me say it, but I believe the console wars are over. I really think that it's just a moot point. Now, again, for a lot of people that use hate rhetoric for their channels, and that's fine if you do. I'm not a hater. I'm a congratulator. I think it's going to be hard to sell your brand because I think people are tired of it. I think people are honestly tired of, you know, this versus the other. I think we're coming into a world where all games are going to be everywhere. We all have to get used to it. I know I've gotten used to it much sooner than I thought I would have. A lot of people moved towards like, hey, we don't care. Just give us good games. And you know what? That's fine. But I'll say this. You know, I want to answer one of your questions. I'm going to bring Crispy Bomb in on his thoughts on all of the Halo information. You know, you asked if it was ready, and I know that the track record for 343 wasn't great, right? Like you can ask any Halo fan and be like, I don't know, I'm nervous, right? When you say there's a Halo something coming, it's not that you're excited. It was like, oh God, I hope they get it right. Right? Like you shouldn't have to think like that, but that's how a lot of Halo fans, including myself, thought, right? Like, oh my God, I hope they get it right. Right? Well, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. They have, and I say Halo Studios hasn't said much. They're under new leadership. There's a lot of new blood there. They're doing things differently because the old way wasn't working. We all know the old way wasn't working because we saw it fail in front of our eyes, right? I think that, you know, because again, this confirmation of sorts that they're going to be showing something at the Halo Championships in October, that came from Halo. That's not somebody that read it on some message board somewhere that someone just dropped in as that's confirmed. Like Halo Studios said they're going to be there. If they are okay, if they're saying they're going to be there, I gotta give them the benefit of the doubt that they are ready. They are ready to show this multiplayer. That's just my take on it. But
I hope so.
I mean,
hope so. Yeah.
We're a couple of months away. We will certainly see. I think it's the week of the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, for the Halo Championships. And again, it's a big event. I mean, it's one of the big events of the year for multiplayer for Halo. There's going to be a lot of eyes on it, man. If this thing hits, it could be back in the biggest way possible. I am definitely here for it. But Crispy Bomb, I want to get your thoughts on the Return of the King, Halo. Now, again, if you ask today's audience what their top 5 shooters of FPS shooters are, Halo is not even going to be in their top 10. That's just unfortunately the way it is. It would be in my top 5. I mean, I have not played in a while, to be honest with you. I've missed several of the operations because of other, commitments on other multiplayer games. But I'm ready to jump back in. And obviously, thanks to the Helldivers 2 announcement with ODST, it's got me all excited. So I think I'm going to jump back in over the weekend. Honestly, do you think that we could see Halo be a part of the conversation in 2025, 2026 for first-person shooters?
People are going to hate what I'm about to say, but
No, please
I'm
be
going to
honest.
do it. How do you reinvigorate Halo, which has had crap content, and that's coming from your guys' mouth, and not obviously the crap part is not a part of it, but the content hasn't been there. Okay, so how do you do that and release it on PlayStation and from people that you follow? Like I follow all the Gears people, you follow all the Halo people. Imagine them releasing just a multiplayer free to play on PlayStation, on PC, everything else, instead of when you singularly do that like they did before and not have a free to play or content driven element, what happened? Okay, you have to bring the content.
Technically, the Halo, the multiplayer was free to play, but it wasn't on PlayStation, which is true. It was free to play and it was on PC. It just wasn't on PlayStation, which is a bigger market. So that may be the difference,
So how do you introduce people? Because here's the thing about Halo. If you have a bunch, because we always say like there's a lot of people, because if you look at their sales with PlayStation, a lot of people play multiplayer games on PlayStation. They just prefer PlayStation platform. Okay, because if you look at their sales for some of their big games, it's not quite what you would think they would be. So you go and say, okay, you have Call of Duty. Call of Duty's paid for. Okay, as of now, who knows if they change that? You have the Warzone aspect, but they're all first-person shooters. Well, what is not like any of them? Because it's a military shooter, but it's not. It's a futuristic military shooter. Halo has always been that. All right. And it's first person. And you release it free to play on there. On top of revamping and understanding that, hey, we need a roadmap. We need to make sure that we have content to drive the. Not, it wouldn't be sales. It would be sales on the back end, like a Fortnite. It is totally logical that they could use that to reinvigorate said ecosystem of what people love about Halo, but keep it Halo-esque. Like Helldivers doesn't sound bad. Like, why not do a collab with that? Like, I mean, they have, a similar aspect to it. We are clearly saying like ODST makes sense. Why not do it? I'm just saying like there's content that could be had if they went to a different model in at least adding PlayStation, because at the end of the day, like, PlayStation players are going to play what they're going to play. If they're playing Madden right now, they're playing Madden. If they're playing NBA 2K in a little while, they're going to play that. If they're playing a single player story driven, they're going to play that. But we don't see a lot of numbers from those games. We really don't. And that's where you say, like, you see them moving to a different model and saying, hey, like, you know, MAUs and all these other things. These are things that they're looking at, but also why not? If Xbox is going to be gracious enough, they're already gracious enough to put Gears on there. Okay, now you'd be gracious enough to say, you know, we're going to put Halo on there, and possibly and hopefully hype up whatever single player if, you know, it happens the way Boom is thinking. I really truly believe you're gonna have to do something a little different. And I don't think it's just selling it at a certain price. I think the logical thing is to reinvigorate and also add new people, is to go free to play and have content in the back end, because at this point they have burned too many bridges, in my opinion. That's my opinion, and they haven't seen enough growth the way they're doing it currently. So that's the way I look at it. And, you know, hopefully at the end, who the heck wants Halo or Gears or Forza to die? Like, that's why some of us got like Forza Motorsport, you know, like, and then all of a sudden they put out this huge content map, which a lot of it was from previous years, and I'll leave it at that. But we have to realize that people need to be engaged, and it requires a lot of development time and also a lot of planning. And I think if that planning is done right, it can be a Helldivers, honestly. I mean, this looks like a total planning. Complete planning, collaboration between two companies that aren't supposed to like each other. I mean, why not? We're at that point.
I mean, listen, it's a fair criticism that you gave. Okay, but I do want, before we move into the Gears conversation, because there's a lot to get into with Gears. And again, it's not breaking news, folks. We already knew that it was likely that we would get Gears E-Day next year, but it's basically been confirmed by Gears themselves. But before we move into that topic, I have to call Battlefield 6 to the stand. Okay? Now, again, folks, walk with me on this. Battlefield by DICE and EA has had one clusterfuck after another for years, right? Most people that play Battlefield will go back and they'll tell you that the last Battlefield that they played that they enjoyed, and I'm talking about for me, was Battlefield 4. I mean, that's going back 100 years, right? So you had Battlefield 1 come out, Battlefield 5, you had 2042, and guess what? They shit the bed on all three of those games. At launch, for content, World War II versus World War I versus futuristic weather dominator stuff. Nobody asked for that, right? Now, I say all of that to say is it took someone like Vince Zampella to come in and do what Vince does best, and that is make great games. He has a track record that is pristine, and the point I'm trying to get here, get to at least, is that if Battlefield could survive back to back misses, right? And complete mistrust from the entire community. You put out a beta like that they put out last year that broke the record on Steam for concurrent players. I think the final count was over 513,000 1,000 concurrent players. That broke the record of Call of Duty, right? That was a beta. It was an open beta. Everyone played it. Everyone enjoyed it. And the beta was solid. Again, I thought it was good. I did not have the rave reviews that everyone gave it because I think Call of Duty is better still, but I'm still buying it. I'm still going to play it. My point is that if Battlefield could put out a banger of a beta the way that they did and reinvigorate the entire fan base in a matter of 4 days, I think Halo could see the same result if a Halo multiplayer comes out and it just wows everybody. I don't know when that's going to happen. Again, this reveal that's happening in October is rumored to be multiplayer, and it makes sense because it's going to be unveiled at the championships, which makes sense because that's all multiplayer. But I think there is, if Battlefield can come back after 3 bad releases and total mistrust, if Halo can find their own Vince Zampella and someone can come in and be a great leader, I think this franchise can come back in a big way. I'll leave it at that. But, gentlemen, before we get into Gears, I do want to catch up on the Super Chats here. We have Day Reezy. Day, salute to you, kind sir. Thanks so much for being here, and thank you very much for the very generous $2 Super Chat. Day Reezy goes on to say, curious what an Arrowhead Halo game looks like. You know what? That's very interesting. I saw someone put this out there. I don't remember who said it. I really wish I did because it's brilliant. Arrowhead said something after Helldivers 2 that was a shot across the bow, at least for me, about PlayStation. I've talked about this. I think I might even said it on Tuesday. And the head of the studio literally said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the quote in front of me, that when you 100% fund your own game, you 100% make all the decisions. Take that for what it's worth. Okay. They're going to fund their own game. We know that they are an incredible studio. It would be freaking bananas if they worked with Halo or worked with Halo Studios and did some sort of a collaboration game. I don't know if it would be ODST, that it would actually be an ODST with Halo maps and actual Halo characters. That sounds dope to me. But unless maybe they just make an ODST single player game with multiplayer. Listen, this is we're surfing on a dream here, but who knows, right? So that's a really good call out there, Dave Reezy.
One thing,
sir.
if I may, the one, and this is for my Xbox faithful out there. The one thing that is also quite notable is Arrowhead, the employee, right, used very interesting tools to build Helldivers 2. They built Helldivers 2 on basically Microsoft's PlayFab. The whole thing is on PlayFab and Azure. Basically, Helldivers 2 is an Xbox game in all sense of purpose of the word because it's built on Microsoft's framework. The only thing that's not in part of PlayFab is the engine itself. Everything else is like it's Microsoft's go ahead, build a game engine with access to Azure Cloud. Their cloud backbone is Azure. Wow. It's a Microsoft game. You know what I'm saying?
That is just insane.
There you go.
I just want you to see if you saw. I'm like Jason Voorhees. I'm running around the map murdering everybody. FYI, just watch the skills, folks. Watch the skills. Alvin drops a very generous $5 super chat. Alvin goes on to say, I have faith in the new Halo single player titles because nearly all of the cancerous people have been pushed out. New boss, Pierre, has earned some faith, in my opinion. Brother, that is a great statement. I think you're onto something for sure. We also have Gamer by Choice dropping a very generous $5 super chat. Gamer by Choice says, I would love a combination of Jane's Combat Sim, vehicles from PC, and match it with a Tom Clancy character world like Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, or SC. where you control the team. Dude, that sounds dope, dude. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I always wanted? Actually, I'm actually stealing my old boss's thought. He was a sergeant. Now he's retired like me, but he always wanted a universal Ubisoft world where you could get Ghost Recon, you can get Splinter Cell, all in the same world in this
Yeah.
MMO.
Yes, that's an awesome idea.
Yeah,
Awesome idea.
I said he should have worked for Ubisoft because he would have made them $1 billion if he
Yeah.
would have had something like that. Like, do you remember there was a Ubisoft put out like some sort of an airplane game? He goes, hey, you could be flying jets, you could land, and then you can go and meet up with your team. I was like, my God, dude, I'm getting
You could use the crew to go meet up with your team, and then all of a
Ah.
sudden you're in Splinter Cell. What are we talking about right
This
now?
is
That's
great.
amazing.
This is like Ready Player One.
Basically, absolutely, that's what that was. Yes.
We have here Stitch. Well, I'm just gonna say it's Stitch, but thank you
Yes.
so much. He drops a very generous $20 super
He
chat.
dropped, and it's a if I look it up correctly, it's an Argentinian peso.
An Argentinian, yes, thank you. Well, all the way from Argentina. That's very kind of you, very generous of you. And wow, all the way from Argentina. That is dope. I cannot believe we have that kind of reach. That is crazy. He says Helldivers and ODST, maybe a Justice League versus Avenger movie next. I got news for you. If Gunn has it his way after he's already set up the DCU, I wouldn't be surprised if he would collab with Marvel. I mean, I don't know how many years. Man, my God, I'd probably be about 80 years old by the time that film comes out because they got a lot of work to do. But that sounds dope, dude. I mean, listen, cats living with dogs, peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter and chocolate. Listen, this world is crazy. But I pulled a tweet here from one of the, him personally, Crispy. Shadows is a unbelievable content creator, but he is an unbelievable Gears of War content creator. He's been recognized by the studio more times than you could believe. He has broken, and again, this is breaking news in the sense that it's a confirmation that E-Day is locked into 2026, but we all kind of figured that Gears was coming out next year, at least Gears of War E-Day, because this year we're getting Reloaded. But he put out a tweet earlier where he says Gears of War E-Day is releasing in 2026, confirmed in all caps, again via @Gears of War's official Twitter site. It says this: Reloaded launches August 26th. Emergence begins 2026. After waiting 6 years, Gears of War fans are about to experience the best 2 years and beyond. We are so back. And again, this is from the official Gears of War E-Day Twitter account. And basically, again, this is not breaking news in the sense, Crispy, where we didn't have an assumption or even a strong opinion that next year would be E-Day. And like I said, next year is going to be special in a lot of ways. E-Day is releasing. Halo Combat Evolved is rumored to be releasing. Forza Horizon 6 is expected to release along with a host of others. So the Trinity is launching next year around potentially the first OEM console for Xbox, bringing it into the next generation. I think 2026 is going to be a party from January 1st to December 31st. But let's talk Gears of War, because on the 26th, not only are we getting a game that had a remake, right? We're getting it done, and it's going to be the best that Gears of War has ever looked, but it's also going to be on PlayStation, which is, again, it's just wild times that we are living in. But to know for a fact, and this is, again, folks, it's confirmed, that Gears of War E-Day that we saw last year in one of the most, okay, you and I were sitting next to each other. We went bananas.
Yes, we did.
It was, the whole audience erupted. And as a matter of fact, I put a video out there. You put a video. Harky China, who's in the chat, by the way, I think he had like almost 100,000 views on his reveal Gears of War E-Day recording. we all recorded on our phones, man. It was so powerful. Gears of War is going to have a back-to-back year. And again, I know this is Gears 1. For a lot of people like me, it's a personal thing. I told you the story about me and my brother running through it multiple times. We used to run through it at least once a year. Like when he would get on vacation, we would just sit there to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and just play. And we're going to do it again. We're going to play as brothers. I cannot wait to get into it. Gears of War is all about brotherhood. So for me and my brother, it was super special. But now that we know that Gears, again, confirmed that Gears of War E-Day is next year, my God, what a couple of pair of years for Gears of War. Let's get your thoughts, man.
Honestly, my only bit of slander here is, where's my collection, man? I hope it ends in the collection. Like, start with one.
Crispy
end
has
with
a
second.
Crispy
We're not gonna end.
Yeah, no, he does. I think we are going to get it. But Crispy had a thought and theory that if you want to jump in and just tell Kay, who's asking the question.
Tell me, what's your theory?
No.
Yeah.
So basically, the two that are the most argued about as the best Gears games are 2 and 3.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it is not 1. I mean, 1 has their fandom, but it is not
2 and
1.
3. Yes.
So and this is where the E-Day thing, you're not going to get it anytime soon, PlayStation fans. I'm just telling you, they're going to try to sell you 2 and 3. Okay. And then they will give you E-Day. And the only reason why I think you have to understand, and 2 is the most important. Yep. So maybe it's just 2, but 2 is the most important for Dom and Marcus's bromance, as we like to call it. Okay. And understanding that, well, no, I can't do it. Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
No spoilers.
I don't want to spoil it because I'm sure there's a couple PlayStation fans that only play on PlayStation that are probably in here that are not saying stupid crap. And I will say, you need to understand how important that relationship is before you go to E-Day. And that's where I say E-Day is a culmination and showing you. And also, there's a 10-year period at minimum between E-Day and Gears 1. So think about that for a second. There is a lot of games to be made from that. Now, could they go and blow the doors off and do everything within one game? Absolutely. But I don't think that they would do that because the story of that, I don't even know. Think about that. There is a period where the books don't touch anything else. And all you have is little nuances that they throw in there, and they add a little lore in there. So there's a lot of things that could happen during this period of time. Could they do the stupid thing, in my opinion, and just, do it all in one game? I hope not, because at the end of the day, it's all about the characters. And the characters that Gears has built is unprecedented. It is, Coltrane runs on whole grain, baby. David Beard, all right, the a-hole that knows everything and figures it out before everybody else does and argues with everybody and also is very sarcastic. You got Marcus, the steadfast leader. You got Dom, the emotional groundedness that the game needed. You don't experience all of that until you play 2 and 3. And that's where I say, dude, I'm telling you, E-Day, it's going to release on PlayStation. I just don't feel like it's going to be at launch. Like everybody keeps saying that. I
Yeah,
just don't
Paris in the chat
understand that.
says that. First of all, shout out to Paris Lily. He says that Gears of War E-Day will be on PS5 in 2026. That's what he believes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll have, you know what, Paris, I respect you. You know more than me, but I also am very deep in the Gears community. And that also includes people that know stuff. So I'm going to leave it at that.
I mean, listen, we're certainly going to find out what's going to happen. I know that Gears is releasing in a little less than 2 weeks, right alongside Helldivers 2. I am, Chris, before we hand the mic back over to Asante, I do want to get your thoughts on this for a second. How well do you think Gears of War Reloaded is gonna move on PlayStation? Because I know that we don't really focus on the sales thing as much, but most Xbox games that have gone over to PlayStation have done incredibly well. I mean, look, we talked about it, I think, last week and the week before. 6 of the top 10 best-selling PlayStation games are Xbox games. This could be one of them too. Do you think it's going to hit like a ton of bricks?
The price point is right. The one thing I'll say is that they're starting to ramp up. Like Helldivers did their thing. There's, I think it's VGT or something. One of the publications went through like the character development and like talking about the characters. It was Baird first. I think they're going to ramp up it in a different way because they don't expect PlayStation gamers to want to play the multiplayer, to be honest with you. The multiplayer, I mean, both you guys have told me multiple times, it's not for me. It's for me, okay? It's for me. And you saw the reaction. There's a lot of, I mean, I have met more girl players that have played Gears of War that have absolutely destroyed me. Shout out to Lady Foxfire. What happened to you?
Bro.
She is amazing at the game. Absolutely destroys me anytime. And I say, you look at it and you say, they're going to push what they need to push. And these PlayStation gamers need to understand that there's a lot of story there because they like story. Everybody says, oh, story-driven narrative games. They love them. Well, here's one for you because at the end of the day, Gears 1, I mean, it's basically 2, 3, and then 1 for me. And then after that, it's 4 and 5. Okay. Judgment, I mean, you like it, Boom. I
do. I like Judgment.
I mean, it's
basically
it's basically, but you have to understand from a Gears player's perspective, the campaign of Judgment is basically a horde mode all the time. And it's like, no, I just want to go play horde mode. And that's the way I look at it. And I would love, like, and that's where I say, like, a lot of us know that Gears 2 or 3 are like neck and neck for like Gears players for the campaign. And I would say, like, also, like, Gears 2 was the first time I ever experienced a horde mode. And it was so challenging that I literally probably smacked my head against my controller a couple times. Okay. Like, because you go on insane and you play in day one and you actually beat it after multiple upon multiple tries. It is one of the most amazing things you've ever felt because it was so challenging. You didn't have no turrets. You didn't have none of that. You had a shield that you could plant and you just go and do it. And you just fight them until no end. And maybe that's why I like the Division so much because I can go and fight them until no end. You know what I mean? And I can try to figure it out. And
one quick thing, Crispy. There's a reason why, because when you said that, it gave a quick epiphany to me. There's a reason why Gears 2 is where you first played Horde mode. It invented Horde mode.
Yeah, it
Gears
literally
2
did.
brought
Yeah.
It literally
Horde mode to the
invented
world.
Call of Duty Zombies. That was
Yeah.
based off that. I mean, yeah, dude, like, you know, Horde mode is PvE, people. Like PvE was kind of invented. Like people will challenge that, but it was kind of invented by Gears 2. It really was something that we didn't experience before because the internet was still kind of working itself out, and that challenge, you know, you could play that, you know, the easy difficulty, you could play that normal, and then you go to insane, and insane was like, it was astronomical. Like you had all of it, but at the same time, you didn't have the Brumax. You didn't have what we have in Gears 5. You know what I mean? So they have challenged themselves, and I feel like there's a lot to be had with Gears sitting there for over 7 years and doing nothing. And now all of a sudden we're getting reloaded. Okay. And I'm one of the few people are like, no, don't do it. You can't put Gears on PlayStation. I'm like, some of these guys haven't experienced what I've experienced. You know what I mean? Like you have to understand, like that multiplayer. And I'm sorry, like a lot of people are talking ish about, you know, Reloaded and it's too old school. I'm sorry. I went and played Ultimate Edition multiple times in this past couple weeks, and it is not the same. They definitely revamped it a little bit, and I think, you know, for Gears players, it's going to feel pretty decent. They're not taking away all the OG stuff, but it's definitely going to feel very good. They are focused on the multiplayer more than anything because you know, some of us love it. You know, boom, you don't love it. That's okay. Even Mag, shout out to you, bro. Like, you know, I'll help you. There's no problem. But at the end of the day, like, I think we're at a point where Gears is gonna have like a 3-4 year span of just constant content in some way, shape, or form.
No, listen, great points all around. I want to bring Keosante back into here. Okay, let's talk Gears. Gears of War Reloaded is not only going to, because you know we keep saying that it's going to reintroduce, well, it's going to introduce Gears to a new audience on PlayStation, and that's true. But there might actually be Xbox players that did not play the original Gears, maybe because it was just too old. They weren't 360 players. They weren't Xbox One players. Maybe they're Xbox Series players now. Well, they're going to get a chance to play one of the OGs. For me personally, I know for Crispy, it's 2, 3, 1. It's me, it's the opposite. It's 3, 2, 1. I think 3 is the best of the bunch for a lot of reasons. I want to get your thoughts on Reloaded, and then, of course, next year, Gears of War E-Day. And you know something? I have heard that they are going to give the Reloaded treatment to Gears 2 and 3. So, like Crispy just said, we could have 4 years of Gears.
Yep. For me, it is 2, 3, 1.
Okay.
As well. But I also do have a small...
My man!
I have a wonderful spot in my heart for Judgment because I love Judgment, and one of my best friends helped develop Judgment. He actually worked at 3.
Oh, that's awesome!
And he's in the credits, so Judgment will always have a warm place in my heart for because of that reason. But I'm excited, man. I've always been a Gears fan. I'm a huge Gears fan. I think that Gears, for the longest time, Gears was the way that Microsoft was able to differentiate themselves, right? Because if you think about it, like Halo was Halo, and people hated that Microsoft had Halo because it was gonna be that big monster, that big behemoth, until they took it over. And I was like, oh damn it, now they have Halo. Gears was the lightning in a bottle again, because they didn't think anybody at the time, people didn't think Microsoft could cultivate an IP of that caliber, whether purchase or create, right? They didn't think they were smart enough to know that, hey, this thing is the next big thing. So once they got Gears, it was like, oh wow, these guys are here to play. Like, for Gears has been one of my favorite IPs for Microsoft for a long time for me. You know, it's very iconic, very unique looking. So I'm super excited to replay Gears Reloaded. I've played the Ultimate Edition multiple times at this point. Yeah, I actually played through the Ultimate Edition 2 years ago. Last year, I played the last year, and you know, obviously, Reloaded is coming. I'll put it on the handheld, play it again, play through it again.
Dude,
Absolutely, you know, play through it again.
Great.
But I got to be honest. What I will say though, I think I stand with Paris. I definitely think that you see E-Day on PlayStation, because that, like, I feel like E-Day is kind of your a new hope, start all over again, right? They can literally start it from Emergence Day, right? And obviously there are a lot of PlayStation players who themselves are probably 360 gamers who also had some kind of Gears in their life at some point. So they would
Yeah.
hear this and come right back, right?
Oh yeah.
And for those who didn't have Gears in your life, you not only got the chronological order version, you got the OG. This is how it started before you then go back to the other three. So I honestly think I actually think it would be a bad look if they didn't put it on PlayStation as well, because this is the perfect way to introduce new audiences to it, right? Start from scratch. From they don't even know each other. They build a brotherhood, and then you start seeing all the extras that we all know and love about it. You know, so I think like it's a shoo-in that you see it everywhere, day one, because that's just the way to introduce it best to the audiences. You know. So for me, as far as your final question as to how much you think it will sell, I think because of that last point, because 360 users are deep within the Xbox, within the PlayStation realm, right?
Yes.
A lot of 360 users were very, very turned off by Xbox One and they moved on. So the last time they experienced Gears was on a 360. And Gears is great, but man, oh man, has Gears upgraded since then. I bet this thing will move some units. I really do think this will chart. I don't know how far it will chart, but I say it will chart. The month it comes out, maybe a month or two in, it will at least hit some kind of number figure on some various platforms to show that people actually really wanted it. And specifically on PlayStation, I think it would chart.
I mean, again, just if you go just based on what has already happened, Xbox games are charting on PlayStation.
They all chart. Yes, they all chart.
They all chart, which is just crazy. And again, because we're living in bizarro world, right? A 4-year-old game is the best-selling game on PlayStation right freaking now.
But you know what, Boom? I'm not to divert the point, but I this brings up something I've been thinking about in my head for a little bit. I think it's time we stop putting monikers to these things, because like for example, I just talked about how Helldivers is all but an Xbox game without the Xbox name. It's like PlayStation, it's like Xbox going to PlayStation and saying, hey, can we have the Decima engine for a game real quick?
Yeah.
Right? Games aren't like based on the platform they're built on, right? A game is a game is a game. Xbox games could be PlayStation games like that, and vice versa.
And we're going to start seeing that. Obviously, if they move to a day and date release, which is what you're suggesting and Paris is suggesting for E-Day, it probably won't be the first, and it probably will be the first, but it certainly will not be the last. Again, anyone still trying to fight this fight about multiplat is ice skating uphill, folks. It's happening, and it's going to be even more bombastic when PlayStation does it. I mean, they've done it already. Helldivers is happening, and again, nothing. If you ever wanted to ask whether or not you were in Bizarro World, watch that announcement trailer from yesterday. It starts with a PlayStation logo and ends with an Xbox logo. It's freaking crazy. Like, but you know what? I gotta be honest with you. First of all, you know, we're gonna wind up getting out of here in the next minute or two and do outros. But not only do I really enjoy today's show because it was so much fun. It was so exciting to talk about Halo, talk about Gears. It is just so exciting as a gamer to see this unbelievable. No one would have thought about it. Collaboration between PlayStation and Xbox. Like, it's just, man, it's really cool. Like, honestly, I know that the console wars are fun and everything, but man, this is I think one of the coolest moments in a super long time in gaming. And I'm here for it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad you were here for it, because we had over 500 people watching live across Twitch. I think one person, X, and of course YouTube. Mrs. Boom and I do thank everyone that takes the time to hang out with us and watch the videos and watch and be a part of the live stream. A big thank you to all of the super chats that have come in once again, all of the gifted subs that continue to be dropped on the live streams, and all of the continued support with channel membership. Mrs. Boom, again, and I just, we never will get tired of saying thank you, because we don't expect anything. The fact that everyone is hanging around and not only, retweeting and sharing, but people are dropping real money into the channel. We do greatly appreciate it. But folks, that's going to do it for us here this evening. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation. If you did, please hit the like button on your way out. And if you're not already subscribed, folks, we are on the hunt for 17K. And I mean, listen, but any number, we're going to get there eventually. But you can help us get us there quicker by subbing the channel. And again, we'd super appreciate that. Kay Asante, let's get you on out of here. Now, I don't know if you're doing a show on Saturday, because you might be out the door. But folks, if you didn't know, he's going to be boots on the ground at Gamescom 2025. And I'm hoping that he has hands-on with the ROG Xbox Ally. I cannot wait. Okay, sell the brand, brother. Tell everyone about the Gaming Circle podcast, where you're going to be next week and what you're going to be covering there, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you first and foremost for all the folks that jump in and join the show as they do. They come here every Wednesday. It's always great to see the lively chat. Always great to chat with Crispy Bomb. It's been a minute. Hope you're doing good, brother. But yeah, I'll be at Gamescom next week, so there'll be no GCP this weekend. If you follow Everborn, he's on vacation. He's just chilling on beaches and whatnot. And I will be flying to Germany this weekend, and I'll be there all next week. But I'm doing that so that we may have some great content for y'all. So we'll see some the games that we'll be releasing. If you guys know me, I'm all about that indie beat. So I'm gonna be hanging out in the Hall of Indies and finding all the crazy stuff that maybe people did not know was cool. So it should be an interesting time. I see the Great Soil Tech is in our chat, asking us to join the GCP Discord. When I am in Germany and I'm on the show floor, if I see something cool, I will, of course, be sharing it with the Discord and the videos and stuff like that, in addition to like the YouTube channels and all that. So if you follow us, you happen to be in the Discord, things like that, you'll be able to see firsthand all the crazy machinations that I will get up to next week. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I will be back hopefully next week and tell you all about all the greatness that happened at Gamescom. Yeah.
Looking forward to the coverage, brother, for sure. We got a super chat that comes the way of Do UK Now, the Broke Boy Insider. He said the Black Ops 7 marketing has begun. They've done a news article in Forbes about the guild from the game. That is coming after a $5 super chat, brother. Thank you so much for that. I want to check that out. And their marketing started for Black Ops 6, if you remember, in the summer as well, with all of people like seeing that the monuments were like graffiti. Like, did that actually happen? No, it's just crazy marketing from Call of Duty. But Crispy Bomb, sell the brand, brother. Where could people follow you on the socials and get that crispy truth with, of course, a side of receipts?
Yeah, I have all the receipts. But Kay Asante, I will tell you this. Why did they change it to Gears of War Reloaded? Gears of War 2 Reloaded. Gears of War 3 Reloaded. I'm just saying, why would they put out E-Day, which is the new hotness, when it comes to having the Reloaded aspect, which is not the Ultimate Edition or anything else? Just a thought. Love you, man, because you speak your truth, and I love it. and
Most
always
appreciated, sir.
always just a great person. Like if I'm in the chat, I love listening to you. You have great thoughts. So
Appreciate it, man.
it's at Chris Baum on X, Chris Baum 28 Xbox Live. Practice the boom. I'll be there.
Excellent. It's gonna
Didn't
be a wild
expect to
show.
be here. Didn't expect to be here, but the way the news is coming out this week, I mean, I don't feel like we're gonna have something to get messy about. So we'll see you then.
Well, I'm gonna shout out and slander the good Miles Dompierre. Miles, I don't know if you're listening, but I love you, and I just want you to know that they are remaking Code Veronica. So suck it. That's all I'm gonna say. There you go.
I actually played that one.
I love Code Veronica. Actually, Miles hates Code Veronica, but he's gonna have to play it because they've redone it and it's coming out next year. I can't wait. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. Again, this was such a great, fun show. I couldn't stop smiling the entire show from start to finish, and I'm so glad that you were a part of it. I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully one day will be important to you, and that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids, and he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated, and also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son, I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.